Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, Israel pledges to fight on to ensure that the atrocities committed on October 7th will never reoccur. The United States, Britain, the Netherlands, Italy, Germany, Australia, Switzerland, and Finland, among others, suspend their funding to UNRWA over its employees' involvement in the October 7th massacre in southern Israel. An Iraqi-Iranian proxy claims responsibility for killing 3 American service members and wounding at least 35 others in an attack on a U.S. base in Jordan. Israel continues to unyieldingly fight against terror elements in the Hamas-plagued Gaza Strip, while regional Iran-instigated tensions are evidently escalating. Earlier today, at the entrance to Rambam Hospital in the northern Israeli city of Haifa, an IDF soldier sustained severe injuries when an Islamist terrorist deliberately rammed his vehicle into the soldier before disembarking from his car and rushing toward another group of IDF troops, wielding an axe, before getting himself eliminated by forces at the scene.
לפני זמן קצר, אירוע של פיגוע בכניסה לשערי בית החולים רמב"ם, בהחלט חריג. תוך דקות ספורות הגיע אלינו בחור צעיר, פצוע קשה, כרגע עדיין מטופל בחדר המיון שלנו בחדר הלם, נראה כמו פציעות בכל הגפיים. כרגע הורדם והונשם, יעבור בהמשך סדרת ניתוחים. הכניסה לבית החולים נחסמה ברכבים בשלב הזה, ברגעים אלה אנחנו מפנים את זה. כרגע רק רכבי הצלה נכנסים, ברגע לאחר בידוק עדיין אפשר להגיע לבית החולים. בית החולים יחזור במהרה לפעולתו הרגילה.
Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stressed that Jerusalem is no alternative to achieving the war objectives, which it clearly articulated since the IDF's ground maneuver was launched into the Gaza Strip.
הניצחון המוחץ שלנו יותר חשוב מהכל. תמשיכו לפעול בכל הכוח כדי שניצחוננו יהיה כמה שיותר מוחץ. אלה המילים האחרונות שכתב הלוחם הגיבור אלקנה ויזל, זיכרונו לברכה. אלקנה היה אב ל4 ילדים, לוחם במילואים. הוא נפל בגבורה השבוע בקרבות בעזה על הגנת המדינה שלנו. בשבוע הקשה הזה, שבו איבדנו לוחמים גיבורים, אני חוזר בפניכם, אזרחי ישראל, על המחויבות שלנו למלא את צוואתם ולהשיג את כל יעדי המלחמה. לחסל את החמאס, להשיב את כל חטופינו ולהבטיח שעזה לא תהיה עוד איום על ישראל.
While IDF forces continue to push ahead in the field, Prime Minister Netanyahu unveiled Jerusalem's intentions to ratchet up Israel's defense industry that will aim to diminish foreign pressures from limiting Israel's freedom of operations.
השבוע לוחמינו השלימו את כיתור ח'אן יונס, הם חיסלו מאות מחבלים, הם השמידו תשתיות טרור מעל ומתחת לקרקע. הם נלחמים בגבורה עילאית להבטיח את חיינו בארצנו. וכדי להבטיח את חיינו בארצנו, כדי להבטיח את עתידנו לדורות, אני הנחיתי את שרי הביטחון והאוצר להביא בפני הממשלה תוכנית חסרת תקדים, תוכנית ענק, לחיזוק התעשיות הביטחוניות שלנו לעשרות שנים קדימה. אנחנו נעשה זאת בהשקעה עצומה, ואנחנו נעשה זאת כדי להבטיח את העצמאות הביטחונית וחופש הפעולה שלנו.
Meanwhile, the United Nations has voiced outrage after its Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, or UNRWA, acknowledged and terminated the employment of a number of its UN workers who actively participated in the massacre against Israelis on October 7th.
The Secretary General has been briefed by the Commissioner General of UNRWA, Philippe Lazzarini, regarding extremely serious allegations which implicate several UNRWA staff members in the terror attacks of October 7th in Israel. The Secretary General is horrified by this news and asked Mr. Lazzarini to investigate this matter swiftly and to ensure that any UNRWA employee shown to have participated or abetted in what transpired on October 7th or in any other criminal activity be terminated immediately and referred for potential criminal prosecution.
Following the unveiling of the UN agency's involvement in the October 7th massacre, including allegedly kidnapping and subsequently hiding Israeli hostages in Gaza, Finland, Switzerland, the Netherlands, Italy, Germany, Canada, Australia, the United Kingdom, and the United States have all announced their respective decisions to terminate any pledged donations to the UN organization.
Yeah, we have suspended any outlying or yet to be allocated funds for UNRWA, the UN Relief and Works Agency. Pending the results of this investigation, we're obviously going to watch this very closely. We welcome the UN Secretary General and the Commissioner General of UNRWA, their comments today calling for a full investigation. As Secretary Blinken made clear in his call with the Secretary General yesterday, we expect that will be a complete and thorough and transparent investigation. We all want to see that. It's good for everybody, and that those who should be are properly held accountable for that. And as you saw, the UN said even including the potential for a criminal prosecution.
In response to the decision to withhold pledged donations to UNRWA, a move that is expected to gain traction by additional Western-oriented nations, the Western-backed Palestinian Authority voiced its outrage, insisting that funding suspension for organizations whose employees actively engaged in terrorism constitutes a double standard and will only instigate regional war. Moreover, spokesman for Palestinian Authority Chairman Mahmoud Abbas insisted that only a few countries will follow the U.S. decision to withhold funds pending an investigation.
This step, simultaneously taken during the war in Gaza, sends a wrong message. There is a war against the Palestinian people. This decision is incorrect and should be stopped immediately. We urge all these countries to repay the UNRWA because it's a humanitarian issue.
Meanwhile, in the Gulf of Aden, the Iranian proxy Ansar Allah in Yemen claimed responsibility for yet another missile attack against a commercial vessel.
وضمن الرد على العدوان الأمريكي البريطاني على بلدنا نفذت القوات البحرية في القوات المسلحة اليمنية وبعون الله تعالى عملية استهداف لسفينة نفطية بريطانية مارلين لواندا في خليج عدن بعدد من الصواريخ البحرية المناسبة، وكانت الإصابة مباشرة ما أدى إلى احتراقها بفضل الله.
The Houthi attack sparked a blaze on board the commercial vessel, which after an Indian warship intervened, it was successfully subdued.
So I really thank Indian warship INS Vishakhapatnam. They have done a really tremendous job. We had actually lost the hope that we won't be able to fight this fire, but these guys were really tough.
U.S. Secretary of the Navy Carlos del Toro, during an interview, was asked to provide an assessment as to how long we should expect the blatant Houthi attacks against maritime shipping to persist.
Well, to your first question, I think perhaps we should ask Iran that question, right? They continue to support Houthis financially and with weapons capabilities as well, too, as discovered by the Dow that we were able to interdict in the Red Sea, where we lost 2 Special Forces Navy SEALs. So perhaps we should ask them for how long this will continue. My hope and expectation is that it will not continue indefinitely, and that we'll be able to go back to peacetime operations in the Red Sea and allow all this shipping to proceed peacefully.
While the Biden administration continues to make every effort to secure a diplomatic solution as part of its policy of containment, the Iranian proxy in Iraq have claimed responsibility for a drone strike that targeted a U.S. base in the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, killing 3 American service members and wounding at least over 35 others.
I want to point out that had a tough day last night in the Middle East. We lost 3 brave souls in an attack on one of our bases.
Yes.
And I'd ask you for a moment of silence for all 3 of those fallen soldiers.
Jesus.
And we shall respond.
Fearing looming retribution, Iran's foreign ministry sought to distance itself from the deadly attack despite its evident role.
گروه‌های مقاومت در منطقه در تصمیمات و اقدامات خود از جمهوری اسلامی ایران دستور نمیگیرند و جمهوری اسلامی ایران ضمن اینکه از توسعه درگیری در منطقه استقبال نمی‌کند، اما در تصمیمات گروه‌های مقاومت برای نحوه حمایت از ملت فلسطین و یا دفاع از خود و مردم کشورشان در برابر هر گونه تجاوز و اشغالگری دخالتی ندارد.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. I'd like to encourage you, pray for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Hassan, wishing you a Shavua Tov U'Mevorach, and God willing, we'll see you during our upcoming TV7 Israel updates. Until then, Shalom from Jerusalem.